Big round of applause, please. Okay, without further ado, let's get those drums going. And from Birmingham, we have the Bulls! And all the way from Edinburgh, we have the Eagles.
Okay, so welcome back to match 4 of our coverage today of the British Kabaddi League here in Wolverhampton. 2 more to go then this afternoon here on the BBC Sport website and on the BBC Sport app, courtesy of BBC Sport Scotland. We've got the Birmingham Bulls unbeaten so far, 2 from 2 across the weekend, taking on the Edinburgh Eagles, who were in action a little earlier against their neighbours and rivals at the Glasgow Uniform. Edinburgh failing to win that one. They have got quite the small squad at the moment, so they'll be looking to add some players to their team over the coming weeks. Well, the Birmingham Bulls are one of the favourites for the title. They've been impressive. Won their first game by 73 points to 39 yesterday over the Wolverhampton Wolfpack, and then a little bit earlier today, comprehensive winners again, this time over the Leicester Warriors by 80 points to 15. They have racked up the most points so far in the tournament and look the most impressive side so far. This will be another good test for them as well. Priti is alongside me, Priti Swami. What do you reckon, Priti, about this one? Because again, Birmingham have looked good. Edinburgh have looked good in patches. They're just sort of struggling to get over the line because they had a tough loss yesterday to the Walsall Hunters, 70 points to 66. And of course they lost today against the Glasgow Unicorns. Again, just by narrow margins. They're only losing by a few points here or there. 4 points yesterday, 7 points today. Again, it's one of the teams that are fancied for the tournament they're playing against.
Yeah, I think this might be their toughest match so far. They've done well. They've had really good wins, with a significant point difference. Whereas, as you said, the Edinburgh Eagles have been a bit closer in their matches. But I think they really will give them a run for their money. They've both had a match today. They're both warm and ready, eager to go. So, yeah, I wouldn't call it quite yet. I think it will be close. But yeah, let's see how they go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks as though Edinburgh are going to kick things off. The Eagles will kick things off with the first raid of the match. About to enter into enemy territory once he crosses that white line. Waiting for the officials and everyone just to get the green light going.
I love when both two raiders stand up on the line, so they just keeps the defence on their toes. You don't know who's going in for the raid. Another really good tactic, unless both of them go in and then they both get out, which I have seen happen.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
There we go. Here we go.
That would be a schoolboy error. So Alex, captain of the Edinburgh Eagles, will kick things off for us here. Going for a bit of a leg swipe, like a roundhouse kick. Nimble on his toes. Really good at wriggling free of tackles and challenges and then getting the tag. And he's got a big scalp there. That's Felix Lee he's taken as well there. One of the key defenders of the Birmingham Bulls. So nice coup, a nice little early start there for the Edinburgh Eagles. Keshav Gupta now, one of the key men, number 7 of the Birmingham Bulls.
Standing in the lobby, making it clear that he got that touch.
Yeah.
And he did. 1 point.
And he gets it as well, yeah. So 1 point apiece then. Both teams on the scoreboard in the early stages of this one. Edinburgh Eagles and led again by their skipper, a man from Poland. hovering in that left zone. Feigns a few dummies, feigns a few feints.
Yeah, great pressure from the defence. They're keeping a tight form.
Just waiting, yeah.
There you go, empty raid.
George Hillington comes in as well. Another rapid player for the Birmingham Bulls. Low centre of gravity, always spring-like as well, always on his toes.
Just great awareness of the whole... I think... and he makes it.
Yeah, he's got it. And he tried to touch another player on his way out as well. I think he gets that player as well. Yeah,
he got the one. He crossed over before he realised there was another player close by. But
very few players with his awareness, like you said. Awareness is the great word to use for him. He's just ever so clever and smart, knowing who's on the pitch and striking in similar fashion to what Alex has done there.
Great raid there from their captain.
Yeah, brilliant work there.
Taking down one with them. Keeping the score very tight.
Yeah, can't afford to let the Bulls get away. We know that the Bulls are great front runners. Racking up 73 points and 82 points so far. 80 points, I believe, actually, earlier. So, one of the highest scorers, but they don't give many points away. They gave away just the 39 points in their opening game yesterday. In their opening game today, they only gave away 15 points as well. So, one of the toughest teams to breach. One of the toughest teams to stop as well. They've got their offence and defence both on lock at the moment as the Edinburgh Eagles look to strike here. 2 points apiece then in the early stages of this one in the first half. Oh, brilliant work from the number 3. Just came round the back.
That's their captain, Song. Saw him come. Again, it's that awareness. He saw him look away, came round the back.
Yeah.
And it was a clear tackle.
Yeah, brilliant work there. Really clever. Really savvy stuff. Take the lead then, the Birmingham Bulls. 3-2 ahead. Edinburgh Eagles, well, number 5 there claims the touch. He's going to get the touch as well. So the Bulls edge ahead further now. 4-2. That's one of the hardest parts for a raider as well, not to be too predictable, because after a while when you can start learning a player's pattern of play, then obviously they become easier to read and easier to stop from that perspective. Will he run down this clock? It will be an empty raid, so they can't afford that next time round. We'll just see this end out from Keshav Gupta, and then we'll bring in our next guest as well. We'll be speaking to a lot of people who are involved in the British Kabaddi League, whether they're playing out there on the court in front of us or whether they're behind the scenes or whether they're from the local community, especially here in the West Midlands, here in Wolverhampton. We're going to be getting around to Birmingham in a couple of weeks' time. Next week we're in Oldham. Then we'll also finish things off and round things off in Glasgow. So extended their lead, I think, to 5 now. 5-2, the Birmingham Bulls lead. They have the numbers advantage as well. Yeah, he's claimed the touch. Brilliant work there. Excellent. Quick little swipe. Extended swipe kick, and 5-3 the difference now. Our next guest is Joel Lavery, who's from the West Midlands Growth Company, which is a strategic lead, which means he's the main man for bringing major sporting events to this particular area. Joel, welcome to our coverage.
Yeah, thank you. Great to be here.
Just tell us how you guys got involved then in terms of bringing major sporting events to the area. I know you guys obviously have the darts here. You have things like boxing, Premier League football, speedway. I've clocked here in the past as well. Is this sort of part of that portfolio now, I guess?
Yeah, it's related, of course. West Midlands, Birmingham, West Midlands, Wolverhampton have a proud history of hosting major sporting events, and this is kind of part of that portfolio. But really, it was born out of the springboard of the Commonwealth Games. The Commonwealth Games funded something called the Business and Tourism Programme, and I work as part of that. And my job is to bring major events to the area on the back of the springboard of the Commonwealth Games. And Kabaddi was an obvious choice for us, really.
Yeah, so what attracted you to Kabaddi in more detail?
Well, we talk a lot about, more inclusive and diverse participation in sport, and we always start with the kind of typical list of, football, rugby, tennis, cricket, and we thought, well, let's look at things from the other end of the telescope. Which of those sports that are really attractive and interesting to the diverse communities that we have in the West Midlands? And you look in India and you look at the growth of the Pro Kabaddi League, and you go, wow, there's something really exciting there. And then we started to look at the game in detail and go, right, this is a really accessible, really easy to understand, great to play game that could really take off in our schools and within our communities. So it almost became a no-brainer overnight, really.
How's it been received as well, like you say, within schools and in terms of spreading the growth of that game?
Well, I know a lot of work, grassroots work has been done in the sport, but I think every sport needs that kind of magnet or that kind of lighthouse, really, that says, this is what the sport's about. And there's nothing like major events. It's a bit tasty, this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's nothing like, kind of major events to put things on our tellies, on the front pages of our magazines and newspapers, and kind of attract interest. And that's really what the British Kabaddi League is about for me. It's that signal that, promotes the sport, and we can use this as a springboard to start to grow its popularity in schools and within our communities.
Yeah, and I guess also hard to reach communities as well, socio-economically deprived communities, because it's not a sport like you mentioned some of the other sports. Sometimes if you're not from a privileged background, you can't afford the equipment, you can't afford to play certain sports. The beauty of kabaddi is that, you effectively need a court and then just some teammates, really, and then you're up and running.
Well, do you know what? We Prem Singh, the CEO of BKL, and I were chatting, and I grew up playing this in the playground. It wasn't ever called kabaddi.
Yeah, it's called British Bulldog, probably.
Well, yeah. So, you no equipment to play it. Kids do it naturally. Yeah. Have a game of TIG or Stuck in the Mud or whatever it was called when we were kids, So I'm super excited about, where we can see this go and how it might develop in the next couple of years. And we use the springboard of BKL to really, I suppose, use it to really promote the sport.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of, like you say, the Commonwealth Games, I mean, it would be massive if a sport like kabaddi can get into a Commonwealth Games or an Olympic Games in the future, because that seems to be the dream of the likes of Prem, Ashok Das as well, president of the KBL. There are so many people, obviously, in countries like India and the subcontinent, but also now we're seeing here in the UK and European countries like Poland as well. It seems as though there's a real global movement towards getting this game into the place where it deserves.
Well, absolutely, it deserves to be there, but I also don't think the Olympic Games is the be-all and end-all of every sport. I come from a sport, Taekwondo, that was introduced into the Olympic Games couple of versions ago.
Yeah.
But before that, we used to say there's a World Championships every couple of years, there's a European Championships every year. So the sport doesn't just wake up every 4 years and go, here we are.
Yeah.
Actually, something like Premier League football, if you can develop a version of that, it happens every week, every month, week in, week out. And that's the key, I think. But of course,
brilliant work.
That was brilliant.
Salmon-like work again. George Hillington. I think they're complaining, Edinburgh Eagles here, that they felt as though the player had gone out of bounds, Prithvi. Is that what they were trying to call for?
Yeah, so George went for the one touch, got it, and then I think the Edinburgh Eagle captain is complaining that he stepped out when he ran back through the lobby. He didn't then cross over, he stayed in to then go back and get that second player and causing them to get an all-out.
Yeah.
But I think they've all come to agreement that, he was in, he didn't step out.
Yeah.
And that's 3 points down for the 3 points for the Birmingham Bulls.
Yeah, and that's a key aspect of it as well, like just making sure you get those all-outs, and that's why the Birmingham Bulls are so good, and they managed to stay ahead against so many of the opposition. But yeah, Joel, just to pick up on the point you were making there regarding the be-all end-all, you were talking about other sports like Taekwondo, and just follow up on that point you were talking about.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to say is that, sports exist year in, year out, week in, week out, in communities, in schools, and obviously the Olympic movement gives it a tremendous boost because you've got a global, worldwide audience. And so a sport like kabaddi, with its origins in India, I think has gradually spread around Europe and spread into other nations. But something like the Olympics can kind of supercharge a sport like kabaddi, a bit like it did for taekwondo.
Yeah.
And there are other sports competing to get into the Olympics. But and the Commonwealth Games has a different set of sports than the Olympics has, of course, and something like the World Games has a different set of sports as well. So there are lots of sports vying for that Olympic place, and I do think it does help to supercharge a sport. But for me, that's not the end. That's not the be-all and end-all, I would say. It's just one of the factors to grow the sport, isn't it?
What are the prospects of kabaddi and especially the growth of it, especially in your region as well? We're seeing Wolverhampton host this weekend. Birmingham will be also hosting in a couple of weekends' time as well.
Yeah, and we've got aspirations as well to now start talking about how do we bring a bigger tournament,
like a World Cup,
like a World Cup or a European Cup, or even a lot of sports are now thinking about invitationals. So could we have a UK versus or a Great Britain versus India test match almost? How do we kind of take the route of other sports like cricket and I'm
rugby
sure that
as well,
rugby that would be super popular in the West Midlands. I'm sure if we were to invite the India team over. I'm not sure how great we would fare. You'd probably know better than I would, but it'd be a fantastic spectacle to watch.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing. It's about the growth of the game, and I think India would argue that growing the game globally can only enhance the game, I suppose, in their country, but the reach of the game beyond and get to the places India would like it to be in terms of where they would like to compete. So I think that'd be a fantastic idea, and I guess the Midlands as well, being one of the heartlands of British Asian communities, it's massive. We're moving. I work for the BBC Asian Network. We're moving a lot of our team to Birmingham, so the West Midlands is going to be quite the hub for British Asians, and also young British Asians especially as well, who'd be great to get into the sport.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about the BKL, and I've got to give great credit to Ashok Das and Prem Singh, that their vision from the outset was that the teams that we're watching now, the guys at the top of the game, the rights to the teams are owned by community groups and community teams, so that the investment or the interest is going to have a direct impact on the grassroots, and that surely, for me, that's having worked in sport a lot of years, that's the first time I've ever really heard of that model where the professional team, in a sense, is owned by the community group that it's trying to inspire. So, I suppose there is a version in football where it's the kind of fan-owned football.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's a dream in this country, like for us to own our football clubs, Premier League or Football League or whatever, a bit like how they do in Germany. But essentially that's, like you said, a fan-led ownership model. Yeah,
and kids growing up watching these guys in their gyms, and clubs can one day aspire to be on BBC telly, playing for their home city, which
absolutely
is amazing.
Yeah, it's just great to watch, and it's great to see the growth of the game as well. And I guess finally from yourself, as you've seen this sort of first weekend unfold, what have you made of it? Excited about the prospect of how it will be in Birmingham in 2 weeks? What can we expect in Birmingham in 2 weeks' time, I guess?
Well,
more noise, more passion?
I'm kind of quite awestruck at how kind of physical and intense it is. As someone come from a sport of taekwondo, I thought that was quite physical, but this is equally, they're really going for it, aren't they?
Yeah. We're seeing people with dislocated fingers. We've had dislocated shoulders. We've had ankle injuries. We had eye injuries. So, it's been a bloodbath, mate.
I don't know if that's a good thing for our insurance.
I'm joking. It's not really been that bad.
But I think, in all seriousness, if this standard and this intensity keeps picking up, and people start to watch this, then this is our very first event. Imagine when we come to Manchester next week or Birmingham in 2 weeks' time. I think we might be getting a few new fans of kabaddi, and then we can only build on this from here on in. And great, just a shout out to
that guy was mid-air when he was thrown out.
perfectly timed.
I love the
ankle
fact
grab.
that he just like got up and just like jogs off as if nothing had happened.
If I may, just while I've got just the moment to say great credit to the City of Wolverhampton, City Council, who have put on this.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's going to be an all-out. Extra points there.
They've put on this fantastic event. They've funded it. They've put a lot of time and energy into it.
Yeah.
And, have got us off to a fantastic start for the very first event in the British Kabaddi League Series.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. Joel Avery, thank you so much for your time as well. We look forward to catching up with you in a couple of weeks' time.
Brilliant.
No doubt in Birmingham. And we're going to try and bring you more voices as well from the world of Kabaddi as well, and people involved and engaged in the community here. 24 points to 8 though, the latest in the first half of this match between the Birmingham Bulls and the Edinburgh Eagles. That goes up to 9 now. Edinburgh just getting an extra point there to narrow the deficit, but already, Prithvi, we're seeing that gap widen as the Birmingham Bulls do. We've hit half time and we'll be back on the other side of this, but just a quick word from you in terms of just, again, they're such good front runners.
Yeah, absolutely. Really slick play from the Birmingham Bulls. Really tight formations for their defence. They've got their key raiders, George and Keshav Gupta, but also really strong defence. We saw a beautiful ankle grab by Vinay Gupta. So all around, just really, really solid. So giving the Edinburgh Eagles a real run for their money, but they are keeping in strong. As we know, the score this early on doesn't determine everything, and we don't know what's going to happen. So it's going to be an interesting match, and it's really, really good.
Okay, we'll be back on the other side after a quick break for half time. Right, so coverage is back underway. Birmingham Bulls against the Edinburgh Eagles. Second half action here in Wolverhampton. The penultimate game of the day so far, and the Bulls in complete control. 24 points to 9 at the moment, the lead. Dominant as always. And that's the key thing about the Birmingham Bulls. That once they get ahead, they generally stay ahead. Don't allow the opposition back in. Slight numbers disadvantage here, it looks as though, but Alex, the captain of the Edinburgh Eagles, will need to start quickly. Tries a leg sweep and a swipe. This coordination is just so good from the Birmingham Bulls.
Fast.
They might not have their full quota, but they're still so effective with just the 5. Keshav Gupta now goes over the white line. Number 7, great reach again he has. Oh, brilliant last-minute tackle. That was a physical tackle there. He seems okay, but that was a late last-ditch effort. I think he was successful, but that was tasty.
Swiped his leg over in the last minute, so we're just trying to see how many people. 4 points! Wow!
Oh, wow, so he did get over the line.
grade.
We saw him take 4 points early, didn't we? And that was when it was with the bonus point with an all-out. But that was something else, to take 4 out in one go. That is unreal. 100% my MVP today.
No, definitely. He's done really well for their team. Claiming a point there.
Yeah.
George, one of their key raiders.
Yeah, the officials. I was just noticing how the officials do make them walk off in this particular manner, because it gives you clarity in knowing that this player is definitely leaving the court. Claim of attack there from A Reddy on number 5 for the Bulls.
And
and he gets it.
good sportsmanship here. Both teams are quite clear when they have been touched. So
Yeah.
There hasn't been as many disputes on it, so that's always nice. And great signalling between Som and Vinay. You can see they're both in such coordination with each other, with their hand signals to each other, knowing when to go, when not to go.
Just break that down as well. When will you, I guess, try and keep an eye on each other's signals, but then also keep an eye on opposition on the radar.
On top of the other 100 things you have to do,
Yeah.
you got to do that. Yeah, because again, it's all about the team working together and moving in the same way.
Yeah.
So when you go for a tackle, you want to go as a unit. So you do want to make sure you keep eye contact with your opposite corner or your cover, so that you all go together for the tackle. That's really important, because if one person goes, it's not always successful.
Yeah.
The more people who go together, the more likely it is to be successful. And that's another touch from Keshav Gupta to their captain, unfortunately, and they're down to 2 players at the Edinburgh Eagles, so that's 30 for 11 for the Birmingham Bulls.
Yeah, Birmingham have stretched it close to a 20-point lead. Close again, once again to getting another side all out. Oh, and they're doing so well there.
And that's such a partnership.
Yeah, but they're good for there, and they get their man as well.
Great.
Just on the near side here in front of us, Gupta and Reddy were both about to step out. Got another injury timeout. Seemed that there's a lot of bodies on the Edinburgh Eagles player.
I think it was just the angle in which he fell.
Yeah. Just goes to show you the physicality of this sport. On one hand here on the near side, we had 2 players just holding each other for balance.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the court. And then we saw obviously the other aspect of it as well, where you see the weight of 4 or 5 bodies on one player.
I think it's a knee.
Yeah, it might be a knee, and he's already had a knee injury. Ashok Das there, the president of the British Kabaddi League, helping player off. We have the medical responders here on site to come and help out. We hope that player will be okay. Try and give you an update on that as and when we can. So there'll be a slight medical timeout break. Just waiting to see what's going to be confirmed. Been offered a cheese roll, Priti, but I've declined. We had some lovely samosa and like a little pita with like a chaat type filling, which was really tasty at lunchtime. So thanks to everybody who's been catering here as well and looking after us here in Wolverhampton. And I think a lot of people have appreciated that, as George Willington gets another cheeky all out as well. He loves to just play possum, doesn't he? Always gets his man at the end of the day.
He gave us a cheeky smile there. He knew it.
We know what you're doing over there, George. We know you can hear us. Number 9 showboating a little bit. He can though, because the team is so far ahead. 34 points to 11. The Birmingham Bulls, the team to beat at the moment. They've got their full 7 players, and they're going to get another one out as well. They do. Wow. Excellent stuff. Great teamwork there. Like Felix Lee getting involved there. And they play very much at their own pace. They don't ever really seem to have to try and match anybody else or try to get too carried away with the pace of the game.
I think that's what shows experience as opposed to sort of newer teams. You know, they keep their team so level-headed. They play at the pace that they want to play at, and they really are dominating the pace of the game, which is really working in their favour, clearly. Yeah.
I was going to say I appreciated the cheese roll offer, but after having the samosas and all the other tasty flavours last night, it was obvious I was going to decline it possibly. But our wonderful production boss man here, Keir, sorted us out with a cup of tea, so he's very kind. He's been looking after me all weekend, thank you.
Absolutely.
As we get another successful defensive unit from the Birmingham Bulls. But I tell you what though, I've got a journey home a little bit later. That's when the cheese roll's going to kick in for me. And that's when I'm going to be thinking of Keir and thinking, yes, that man sorted me out from the very start to the very end of my weekend here in the British Kabaddi League. What else have we got in front of us? We've got chocolate bar, we've got an orange juice.
Got loads of
crisps,
snacks here. Getting
spoiled.
spoiled.
Oh, brilliant again. Keshav Gupta. I think he's taken another opposition player with him yet, and he gets the point. They extend that lead then. The Birmingham Bulls are into the second half of this penultimate match of the day. We've got one more to come after this. Player suffered that injury just a few moments ago from the Edinburgh Eagles. Is limping away we just hope that he can hopefully recover and still take part in the tournament over the coming weeks. He's going to lie down, get some physio work as well. Another point there then for the Birmingham Bulls. They extend the lead 38 points to 11 now, in complete command of this one. And I think Reddy's got another tag there as well. He has, yeah. So it looks as though they're down to, again, Edinburgh Eagles, their final player. And Edinburgh Eagles have been competitive in every single match they've played so far, and they are in this one. And what I mean by that is within touching distance of a potential win. But this goes to show the level up when they take on the Birmingham Bulls.
Yeah, I can't even fault their play. I think they are really going for it and doing what they can. I think it's just how slick the Birmingham Bulls have been. And there we go, we've got a one-on-one, and he's just pushed them out. He sacrificed that, so that's 3 points more to the Birmingham Bulls than an all-out for the Edinburgh Eagles.
42, it looks like their lead will be extended to 42 points to 11. So 42 points to 11 is the lead. I'm being told something, but I can't read your lips. I need to learn sign language, I think. But apart from the obvious sign language, A&E, okay. So he's going to be going to A&E shortly, this player. That's the update we've had, the injury update. Thank you. A and E is literally what she was trying to mouth to me. Wonderful.
Don't worry, I didn't get it either. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. A bit of sign language. Well, maybe just make a noise like an ambulance next time, Dowdeep, and then I'll figure out exactly what you mean. Just give me a Nino sound, and then I'll be like, okay, cool.
What was that?
Nino. Yeah, there we go. A little
Amazing.
Bit. Then I'll know exactly what's going on. Yeah, taxi for Dowdeep and her efforts at sign language. As the Edinburgh Eagles back to 7, they're still trailing there by a good 30 points here. 42 points to 12, the lead for the Birmingham Bulls. Dishing out a lesson here today, the Bulls.
Look at the Bulls following him. It's like a predator looking at their prey. No, he goes back for an empty raid.
I need to ask all the owners as well where they came up with the name for. You know, the Birmingham Bulls. I'm trying to figure out if anybody's a Michael Jordan fan on the family team. So I'll try and get some. I've got a member of the family sitting within an earshot of me. So I'm going to try and get some confirmation in a bit.
Do or die raid again there for the Edinburgh Eagles.
Do or die raid. Under the horn, the noise. Just so polished and smooth, the coordination. I'm just keeping an eye on and what Prithy's been sort of telling us about some of the excellent tactics from the defenders.
And he didn't get it, so that he's out, unfortunately, because it was a do or die raid and no points were obtained.
Yeah, player didn't realise so.
Lovely raiding from A Ready. 4 players, no bonus.
And over the coming weeks as well, on the British Kabaddi League, I'm going to try and catch up with as many of the players as I can and try and find out their likes and dislikes. Try and find out if any of them are single as well, if anybody's watching and interested. I'll try and set them up. You don't need any dating apps. I can even sell some of these lads that way if I want to.
This is our multi-talented commentator here today.
It's like, I think I'm just doing some extra work on the side as well, so a side hustle for me. But no, we're trying to bring you as much personality and colour over the coming weeks as well, so bring you lots of information on the players, a little bit about them and their journeys within the sport. We want to try and bring you as much information as we can on the teams as well, and the people and the communities behind the team. So yeah, we're going to try and bring you that on our coverage over the coming weeks. Next week we're in Oldham, so if you're in the local area and you're watching, you're listening, if you're anywhere in the northwest, in Manchester, come down and support the sport, support us. I need just chocolates and sweets. I'm quite cheap, so
me too, don't worry.
Yeah, Prithvi as well. Okay, brilliant, awesome. I think most of the team here, I'm looking around at them, they're all nodding, smiling. The BBC Scotland boys, they're all quite low maintenance as well, so I'm the only diva around here who needs oat milk lattes because I need oat milk, otherwise I just get indigestion in my gut. Otherwise, I'm not enjoying my coffees with that full fat milk. So if anybody wants to come and sort me out, you're more than welcome to. over the coming weeks. The Birmingham Bulls continue to pound away, but they've made some changes as well, Prithvi, which is what they like to do.
They've got 2 substitutions on. I think we've got Kisan on and someone else who've been subbed in. So yeah, you know, they're in a position where they can mix things around. They can give everyone an equal opportunity to play for their team, which is really what we like to see. And that's a common theme that, you know, when we heard from Michael earlier, him saying, you know, it's really important that all players get an equal opportunity. Brilliant push out there.
Excellent stuff there again from the Bulls working as a team. So look, I used to live in Birmingham, so I should have clocked this earlier, but do you know why they're called the Birmingham Bulls?
I don't. Tell me.
Okay, so gentleman to my left, member of the family. I don't want to embarrass him, but he's also part of the whole social media team. He's basically doing everything here. He's looking after a lot
Beautiful
of us.
handwriting.
And amazing handwriting. It's like calligraphy handwriting. He's just written me a note. Calligraphy handwriting. What's your full name so I can give you a big shout out? He said, I've been asking if I want the alter ego. Basically, I was going to ask for your social handle, so then we could have just like given you a nice pop on socials. But Rahul Das is a part of the family here. You know, obviously Ashok Das's family, president of the British Kabaddi League, and integrated as well within the Bulls. So he said the bull ring in Birmingham was historically used as a bullfighting arena many centuries ago. And if you do visit Birmingham, you'll see that big bull, which is similar to the one on Wall Street, I think, as well, isn't it? Similar sort of bull. So basically, the Birmingham Bulls like to believe that they carry the same fighting spirit that the original bullfighters carried. I like that, but I'm more impressed not with the story, but with the handwriting. Yeah.
End that with a roar.
Oh, with a roar.
Yeah.
So I've been told by Rahul that I have to end that with a roar, Prithvi. So you've got a roar to end that. Give us a growl.
Go on, you do it. Go on, you have to do it.
You can emit smoke out of your nostrils.
Unless I can emit smoke out of my nostrils, which I don't think I can do.
I don't think so either.
I'm not angry. I'm quite a chilled Zen person. So,
Yeah, me
as you can
too.
tell by listening to me for the last 2 days. Give us a growl then. No, I'm going to get a growl out of you. Okay, fine. Right, 15 points to 13 then. The Birmingham Bulls lead the Edinburgh Eagles. I've not even had a drink and I can give you one of those. So,
That was brilliant.
so the Bulls, again, just showing that depth of squad, right, Prithvi. They're able to bring in players who just seamlessly step in and give some of their key players a rest, which is a great part of this depth that the Bulls have.
Yeah, they do have a lot more players to rotate around as opposed to the Edinburgh Eagles. We've got their captain in from the Edinburgh Eagles side. And he goes back with an empty raid. Follow on
Quick
there.
transition there, yeah, we've got some fresh talent out there as well. Law, the number 6, has claimed the tag and he's
Yeah.
it as well. And
It's quite a quick point because the Edinburgh Eagles were quite flat. He came in so quickly that they couldn't get into formation in
I think
time.
it's partly to do with the fact that they got fresh legs. They come in hungry, full of beans, and they're just able to attack. They're just in attack mode from the very off. And so again, it's quite easy to then catch teams unaware. Yeah, impressive stuff here. Again from the Bulls. From an Edinburgh perspective, though, it's that squad depth which is going to be possibly their Achilles heel because they don't seem to have the numbers.
Oh, great.
Oh, excellent work. Brilliant work. That's what they needed. That's a good morale booster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking the Bulls player. I just think that the depth is going to be the challenge for them. Like they've had an injury we've just seen during the match to one of their players. That's going to be key going forward in terms of whether they can bring in some extra bodies over the coming weeks.
Ooh, yeah, I think got that toe touch there from
Gets the toe
Son.
touch, yeah.
Keeping their team in, not letting them get to the point of an all-out, so that's really good. They've got 5 players back on the Edinburgh Eagles side. Number 6 raiding there for the Birmingham Bulls.
Yep. Oh, he done well.
Yeah.
He did really well. Almost like got himself out of there. Whistle comes in. He's out though, but
So there you go, that's quicker formation there from the Edinburgh Eagles, and it shows the quicker you are at following the raider, the more likely you are to put that pressure and be able to go in for a good tackle.
Birmingham leading Edinburgh 53 points to 16. In moments like this, as a sort of game starts winding down, can you start trying different tactics, trying different experimental ploys? Because you know that the game's pretty safe and in the bag. Is it the sort of time? Is it the time to try different things and just see? Look, this is something we could use potentially in the future. you can sort of film in on any particular things, but that's the full-time whistle there. We get the full-time whistle, but yeah, just your last point on that, is that something that coaches and teams try and do?
Yeah, I mean, potentially bringing in new players. In terms of different tactics, maybe not. I think a lot of the time once they've got that lead, they want to secure that. They don't want to give silly points away. All the testing will be done. All the testing will be done in training. But there you go. We've got the music back on.
Oh yeah, we're going to introduce you to some absolute bangers over the coming week. So we've got the DJ here and the door player, and they're obviously going to be cranking it up in between matches, in between halves and things like that. But then at some stage, we're obviously going to start introducing you to some of the biggest beats. Look, if you want proper British Asian music or any Asian related music, just hit me up on the BBC Asian Network on my programme. I'm on Mondays to Thursdays,
Yes.
3 till 6 in the afternoon, and we play bangers all day long. And you can take us with you on the BBC Sounds app as well. We're on the BBC Sport app today and BBC Sport website as the players and officials get in front for another photo. We're going to take a small break, and then we're going to bring you some reaction. We're going to bring you an interview in the next minute or two. So stick with us, and then we'll be back with a player interview shortly.
Well done, Birmingham. Can we have the captain of Birmingham Wolves over in the corner?
Tantalise their taste buds with that one. Well, we're going to tickle your taste buds with some reaction here from Keshav Gupta. He's from the Birmingham Bulls, the victorious Birmingham Bulls.
About that you've won all three?
Yeah, we are confident with our chances. We wanted to come in and show the world what we can do. So yeah, we've won 3. Looking forward to the next one. We take one game at a time.
And when you're playing as a team, you can kind of tell that you really gel really well. When people are watching you, that we're getting really excited.
Yeah.
How have you kind of trained to make that happen?
Yeah, so we've got a bit of a difficulty because some of our players are actually from London, so it's been a lot to try and coordinate everyone to get everyone together. But it's just about practice, regular practice, gelling with the team. All of Kabaddi is about chemistry, technique, and that's what we've tried to implement with everyone.
And you've looked like convincing winners. Like you said, you've won 2 games today, 1 game yesterday. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, so that's what we wanted to do. We didn't want to just win, we wanted to try and show what we can do. So we looked to take that forward and make it convincing each time, hopefully.
And you've got 3 more big weekends coming up. What can we look forward to seeing from you guys?
Yeah, probably more of the same, I hope. So we'll keep going as we are. Like I say, take each game as it comes, and that's what we're really focusing on.
Perfect. Good luck on your next
Thank
race.
you very much. Thank you. Did my hand get over, or did I need my foot?